Today we are going to clean the carb on a Sportster 883. This is a 2005 model. So far we've taken the airbox cover off with the air filter, just a couple screws and then 4 bolts here. They're 3/8 bolts and a hex head of some sort for the airbox cover. Now what we're going to do is we're going to remove these 3 screws here with the hex keys, and then there will be 2 boots in here that are actually covered by these rubber covers. Now that we have that off, what we're going to do is just pull this carburetor out. It's not going to be held by anything more than just these 2 bolts here that we're holding in the cover on your carburetor, and then this right here is all that holds it in. So then what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect your fuel line here. I'm actually going to cut this off and actually put a new clamp on afterwards. You're also going to need to remove your choke, which is right back here. All you do is unscrew it. It's a 14mm bolt. Unscrew it and pull it right out. Be very careful whenever you pull it out. There is a spring with a very important piece that submerges into it that will fly off. And on this side is your throttle assembly. It doesn't look like anything major. All you really need to do is get some needle nose and pop each of these flanges out and slide them out, and then your carb will come right out. And I will get back to you in just a minute. So once we have the carburetor out, we have it here. We're going to have 4 hex bolts on the bottom that we're going to take out, as well as 4 Phillips head on top. On top is a diaphragm. Be very careful with it. It's fragile and it can break, and it is spring loaded. So once you get the bolts out, make sure that you hold the cap down as you release it, or that spring might pop off and fly out where you can't find it. Alright, so we have the top screws off, and we pull the diaphragm out, which is going to look like this with the needle through it. And then we also have our float bowl off. In it we have our float, and then we have our jets. For our jets, the bigger one here is going to be the main. The one submerged is the pilot, and the one that's pressed in is going to be your idle jet. Now to remove your pilot jet, it's submerged in there. What I did was I built a tool that I am going to find and show you. So this is just an Allen key that I just shaved down the edge of it with a nice grinder, made a nice flat head on it. Works pretty good. Had it for years, always works. So we're actually going to pull the jets out with just Phillips heads, and there'll also be a tube that your main goes into. We're also going to pull that out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually spray in here, and I have a toothbrush, and I'm going to clean everything out. If you can see it, it's pretty dirty. It's been backfiring. Up top here where the diaphragm is, I'm going to spray all that out pretty good and scrub it real good with a toothbrush, along with back here. And I'm actually going to open the butterfly by turning where the throttle would turn, basically to open your butterfly so you can get the toothbrush in there. And then I'm going to spray in here real good. I'm going to make sure all the passages are clear, especially this idle one that's actually set in. And here are the actual jets. Right here. And what I do is I actually pull a piece out of a wire brush, and then I feed them through the jets. And you're going to want to get through all the holes on the side. See if I can get a better clarity on that. Well, there's holes on the side that you can see right through. You can kind of see them here. And we're going to run them through that as well, along with the main tube. And you're going to want to do it until you can truly see through them without any rough edges or anything like that. I use brake clean, by the way. This is way less harmful than actual carbon choke cleaner. It won't completely eat your rubber parts away. The second carb cleaner actually touches any rubber O-rings in there, it'll completely eat it away. Brake parts cleaner tends to possibly expand it at most. It takes a whole lot to truly mess up your O-rings with it. So I recommend brake clean all the way. Alright, so we got it all scrubbed up. We have our jets cleaned out. I went ahead and put the diaphragm back in. Be a little careful whenever you do it. Make sure you don't pinch the diaphragm itself over. Make sure you put your spring back in, of course. And then we're going to go ahead and put the float bowl back on. I did spray in here with the air hose with compressed air. Made sure everything was free and clear. Made sure that my air fuel mixture screw is 2.5 turns out. That's about the general way to go, is about 2.5 turns. So after we have the float bowl put back on, I went ahead and connected back up the throttle cables. I'm going to connect the choke back up, connect your wire here, put the fuel back on, put a clamp back on the fuel line, and I'm actually going to go ahead and put an extra layer of silicone on your boot here, just to double check. I guess these are known to leak air into them, so I'm going to go ahead and just silicone it, let it sit for about 4 hours or so before I try to start it. If you have any questions, go ahead and send me a message.